Julie Parker, thanks for joining us on the All Night Channel. And I'll say for the audience that Julie and I used to work together at C-SPAN, so she is an old friend. But we've all gone our different ways. And Julie, you are now running your own business, and you have an event coming up in April, April 15th, that I wanted to talk to you about, as I understand it, geared to what we say PIOs, public information officers. Give us a lowdown of what it is you're going to be doing and why people in that business should be attending this event.
Terry, thanks for having me. It's good to see you again. And I think the kind of training that we're doing in Orland Park on April 15th is critical. And this is crisis communications training. And it comes from years of experience working in both the law enforcement space as a media relations director, and then prior to that for 13 years in the Washington, D.C. television market, covering local news to include law enforcement, government, police, fire, etc. Our crisis communications training on April 15th in Orland Park is open to anyone who might be responsible for representing an organization in the midst of a crisis. So whether it's a police chief, a fire chief, a county executive, a mayor, the hospital PIO, a school's PIO, public information officer, anyone who is in charge of speaking to the public as a crisis is unfolding would benefit from this sort of training. And between myself, I have more than 13 years in news in Washington, D.C., working as a general assignment reporter. And then after that, a decade in law enforcement media relations. We're taking that experience and combining it with a Chicago area police chief and co-presenting this crisis communications training. What I've found has been the greatest challenge for organizations when the crisis hits is responding with a sense of urgency. In other words, getting your stamp on the narrative that is unfolding, whether it be on air or on social media. And as the news starts to break, very often organizations are too slow to get their message out, and then the narrative begins without them. And if that narrative is incorrect, it tends to be the one that takes hold. Sometimes the earliest voices and the loudest voices are the ones who grab people's attention. People then turn to them for the news rather than the source of information. So it's really important for everyone to own the story and to get out there as soon as possible and begin to tell the story about what's unfolding.
And I'm going to bring up, here's your website, and that's julieparkercommunications.com. And they can see there the button live training. So if they're interested, they can click on live trainings and sign up to attend that. And I would just say that what you're saying, in my own experience, having been in the news business, I would agree with you that once the narrative gives out, the audience, the people, the citizens are saying, well, what I heard was X, and maybe the story you're really wanting to get out is Y, and it's much harder to undo and have people unlearn what they've already heard.
And sometimes the challenge is the public information officer may know exactly what needs to get out and in the time frame that it needs to get out there. But there are times when there is those layers of bureaucracy that slow down the information sharing process, where people want to weigh in and critique a tweet and put the period here and use that word there, and all of these layers of approval. And while approval is important and critical, and a second set of eyes is always warranted when it comes to sharing breaking critical information, what organizations need to watch out for is not trusting the public information officer and letting them do their job, which is to tell information that's accurate, to provide the public with any sort of actionable information that they may need, such as shelter in place, evacuate the area, don't come to Main Street, whatever the case may be. And the folks in charge need to worry about the incident itself. The public information officers need to be well trained and know what to say and what not to say as the news unfolds.
All right. And again, they can go to julieparkercommunications.com, click on live trainings to get to sign up. And
All the
Julie,
details.
you and I have been in the news. We take it for granted what we know, but I think this basic information is often very helpful to those who are in these positions, and sometimes they're newly appointed. That's a full day. They're going to get a lot of information. Julie Parker, thanks again for joining us.
Thank you.